Hi everybody, Pastor Kirk here on a 100-degree July day. I'm going to have to move my fireworks into a cooler place or they might spontaneously combust. But anyway, here's wishing you a great 4th of July weekend. Some of you may be wondering, is that a very Christian thing to do? What does the 4th of July have to do with our Christianity? And I'm going to be preaching on that this Sunday, America's Christian heritage. I think that is a hugely important subject because, I don't know about you, nobody mentioned in my history classes when I was growing up the overwhelmingly Christian mindset and the deep Christian convictions of the people who founded this country. And I don't just mean George Washington, who was actually very modest and understated about his very real faith. And I don't mean Thomas Jefferson, who was a mass of contradictions, you know. Jefferson was a lifelong slaveholder who declared all men created equal. He was a pretty thoroughgoing deist who, on the other hand, went to church almost every Sunday. And his views on liberty and human rights, interesting, they were all anchored in the God of the Bible. But when I talk about our Christian heritage, America's Christian heritage, I mean about 5 generations of Americans going back from the Revolution through the Great Awakening to the Pilgrims landing in Plymouth and the Puritans settling in Salem and Boston. America was founded as a Christian experiment, maybe one of the boldest in all of history. An experiment to establish a community of people who were truly free to live their lives faithfully and obediently before God in as pure a manner as they knew how, as it was possible to do. No one in history had ever had that opportunity before. And what made it possible was something most Americans take for granted: the gift of liberty. Liberty from ecclesiastical bureaucracy and biblical compromise and government telling you what you can't do and what you can't believe and how you must worship. You know, nobody in our congregation knows what it's like not to have those liberties. And so few of us really know how precious they are. And you know, when England started taking them back within a generation, back in the 1600s, when the Catholic king, King Charles II, under the influence of his archbishop, started reasserting his royal and spiritual prerogatives into colonial America, the Christians turned to their Bibles and they read in Galatians 5:1, "It is for freedom that Christ has set you free, brethren. So do not submit again to a yoke of slavery." And that's what the revolution was about. You're free. Christ has set you free. There's something new going on in the earth that God is doing, and you get to be part of it. But don't submit. Don't go back to Egypt and submit yourselves again to a yoke of slavery. That's what the revolution was about. And these devout believers, I mean, sure, they had their imperfections and their follies like every human community. But there was so much that was admirable and impressive and courageous and beautiful about their lives. And they were more serious about living out their Christianity as neighbors, missionaries, merchants and farmers and churchgoers and lawmakers and law-abiders than any modern Americans I know. And so my message this Sunday is from Isaiah 51. Look to the rock from which you were hewn. Let's be chips again off that original block. Let's use this holiday to recover truths and values that might revive in us a more robust faith. And who knows, by God's grace, spark the next great awakening in our land. The reason I'm so passionate about this heritage is because it was suppressed by my history teachers when I was growing up. It was distorted by my college professors who cynically denied and ignorantly ridiculed the genuine Christian dimensions of our national heritage. And so when I was a cool college kid, it was cool to despise the Pilgrim and Puritan and Founding Father narrative that is our nation's history. And it has led to the place where today Christianity as a whole is despised. And America has become today what it was 400 years ago when the Pilgrims landed, a mission field again. We need to guard against the temptation to mistake America for the kingdom of God. Okay, we're not. God doesn't love us more than he loves China or India. We need to guard against the mistake of identifying our Christianity with any political party's agenda. And we can't overlook the fact that as soon as Christianity got planted here, it got compromised by Christians who took faith for granted, who only half believed what their parents did. On board the Mayflower with the Pilgrims was an equal-sized group of adventurers who were crossing the Atlantic for the sheer commercial opportunity it afforded. And that kind of describes America today. Pilgrims and commercial adventurists, the godly and the greedy, and sometimes they're wrapped up in each one of us. And I think God's opinion of our country is divided, just like our population is, just like our national psyche is. No other major country in the world has such a core of devout Christians as America does. And yet who can seriously call us a Christian nation when so much about our culture is nakedly pagan? And that's what's going to challenge me as I do my sermon, which is what I got to do next, right after I finish this email blast. Anyway, what you're doing to celebrate the 4th of July. If you're in town on Sunday, don't blow church off, okay? You can blow lots of things up Sunday night, but don't blow church off Sunday morning, starting at 8 a.m. with our Arise service in the chapel. Our Boy Scout troop, Troop 144, is hosting a pancake breakfast from 7:15 to 11:15. I know you want to encourage them in their service, and so come on out. It's over in the Family Life Center. You can come early. You can stay afterwards for a stack o' jacks. Okay? Love you guys. That's all for this week.